forces against evil forces, singing whiskey for my men, beer for my horses.
Hey, good morning. It's 3/14/24, and I'm putting this video out on February 27th, 2024. There was a meeting, a Board of Supervisor meeting, and the day before that, John Flynn picked up the actual posted agenda outside the Board of Supervisor building, right? You know, the county building. And following day, on the 27th, they had a meeting, and they had a closed meeting to which this lady, Miss Dow, who's always at the meetings, showed up at a completely staged Board of Supervisor meeting, right? And John Flynn was told he couldn't attend these closed meetings in the past to discuss his public comments. So he showed up at 9 o'clock, and prior to that, they had the Board of Supervisors had a closed room. Nobody's in the room, you can see. And Miss Dow went up and spoke and said that she's afraid of Mr. Flynn, perhaps me. It wasn't very clear, maybe both of us. And so they're trying to lay down a foundation for getting these protective orders to ban me and John Flynn from attending Board of Supervisor meetings. And one thing I want to point out is that we've been very polite, you know, and we're bringing legitimate concerns to the board. And Miss Dow, you know, used foul language. She called somebody an asshole and made false accusations and participated in this conspiracy. I want to say one thing: I've never used foul language at all. Never at the Board of Supervisors meetings, even though I could. The law says I can sit there and use the F word, and I could sit there for 3 minutes and drop that, but I never have. That's not what I'm all about. I'm about going there and exposing the corruption and the things that I'm finding, which they don't want to hear. So tomorrow, on the 15th, they're going to try and get these protective orders against me. So this is going to be used against them, in addition to the fact the U.S. Supreme Court has already said that I have First Amendment rights to attend these meetings, no matter what I say. And I haven't even sworn. I'm going there bringing legitimate concerns about waste management overcharging people in the community with 100% proof, and having trucks that I was forced to drive that had no registration, no emergency brakes. I wasn't paid properly. They didn't handle hazardous waste properly. An employee got seriously injured. Customers were injured, unsafe conditions, and the county covered that up and has come at me basically like I'm, you know, Timothy McVeigh. That's what they're trying to say. Blowing up buildings and crazy shit like that. That's not the case. Everything's in court, but in court, they're sabotaging me, and the judges, Siebert wasn't, he fails to get off the case. The county lawyer has an affair with Laura Craig, the other judge, and the waste management gets protective orders against me without ever serving me, and I can prove that I was never served, right? And then they have Philip A. Pimentel, who has no law license. He's not a judge, so he has to be licensed to be a commissioner, and he wasn't, and he's a family law commissioner. There's allegations all over the community about pedophilia and child abuse going on throughout the system, including the Child Protective Services with the county, and they've covered all that up, and they're coming at me, and they're going to try and arrest me and put me in prison for doing this. For what? For exposing their corruption. You know, we just got a new sheriff, and none of these bonds or insurance exist. And they completely fabricated the December 7, 2021 board meeting, right? When you look at the agenda, and then you look at the actual meeting on the video, and then you look at the minutes and the subsequent actions that they didn't do, like having the presiding justice or judge here in the Tuolumne County Superior Court at the time, which would have been, I believe, Segerstrom, but it could have been Siebert, 2021. None of this stuff was signed. None of it's filed with the county clerk. So they're trying to criminalize me and defame me and whatnot, and also John Flynn by using another senior citizen. And this is spread to the library now. I was just there the other day, and just trying to have me banned. So what's going on is she's going to get sued because she's in a conspiracy with the government here. And that shit, they don't even hold office legit. The bonds and everything that they've done are totally fraudulent. And the cover-up is worse than the crime. So the incident on December 7th, 2021 could even be worse than the fact that they never had bonds because they tried to cover that up. So I released a series of videos that explain all that. And I want to get right to the point so these things don't drag out to be an hour, 2 hours long. So let's take a look at what happened. And John Flynn's going to explain. And you're going to watch the board also hand secret notes that they can't do. They're communicating on their cell phones. And you watch these meetings over and over and over, and this is how they operate. And by the way, Kathleen Haff, you can just tell their attitude, they don't give a damn about the rulings from the courts, the United States Supreme Court, California Supreme Court, or any court. So these people act as if they are above the law, and they work for us. They're all fucked up. And this lady, Miss Dow, dropping the asshole bomb and everything else. I've never gone in there and called anybody a bitch, a cunt, or fuck you, even though I could. So we're going to get into all that later, but right now, let's get right to this. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I think it would be great if you took control of the meeting and did not allow someone to attack a private citizen from the pulpit here. Steve Machado is still doing his Age Well, Drive Smart classes. And you don't want any bad language, so I'm really disappointed I can't call our drivers assholes, but I'll respect that. His phone number to arrange these classes is 209-984-3944.
Good morning. Welcome to the February 27th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting special agenda. Due to the timing of the meeting, we're still shaking out getting that all squared up. Other than that, I will call for oral communications. For this is a chance for the public to come up and speak. That's it. Okay, this is a chance for the public to come up and speak on any items that are not on the agenda. So is there anybody that wishes to speak under oral communications? Okay, seeing none. Excuse me.
There you go, guys. I'm going to break in right there. You can't deny it. You just saw the Ryan Campbell hand Jaron Brandon a note, and that was handed over to David Goldenberg. And that's called serial communications. You can't be doing that. It's a violation of the Brown Act, the open meeting law. And it's a conspiracy. I mean, the whole thing was closed. It's fraudulent. And there's a whole bunch of things that happen here. You're violating people's rights, setting people up. I guess I can name them all, but you just witnessed it. So
what we've got, I'll ask what we're going to do is we're going to go into closed session before we start the regular board meeting. So I'd like the clerk of the board to please read the closed session items.
8 a.m. Item 1, closed session, threat to public services or facilities, Authority Government Code Section 54957, consultation with Tuolumne County Sheriff's Office, Bill Pulley, Sheriff, Neil Evans, Undersheriff, and David Vasquez, Director. Captain, item...
Okay.
So what you just heard is they were having a closed session to discuss these alleged threats and whatnot to the government, buildings, people, whatever. And I believe that's probably directed at me because they feel threatened for their careers. There's been no threat. If there was a threat, I would have been arrested, right? So we got over that. The sheriff said I'm not in trouble. So they're just trying to block me and John Flynn from coming to the meetings and exposing the corruption, right? And I haven't said any threats. My videos aren't threatening. This is my art, right? And any blood stains or anything like that, this is the sheriff shooting other people and beating my cousin up and coming after me, right? It's not me making threats. I'm not going to make threats, people, if I'm coming after you. I'm not going to provide any kind of warning or something like that. That's not how I operate. I'm coming at you legally, and I've given you warning, notice. That's what this is all about. You have to provide notice and give them an opportunity to correct their wrongdoing. And what they've done is double down, and you just witnessed it in all these videos over and over and over. And what Kathleen Hath says, I'm going to put that in this video, is that they don't care about the law. They think that they're above the law, and they're going to come after me and destroy me and my life, John Flynn and everyone else who dares challenge these people. And they need to remember they work for us, man. All right? So I could sit there for 3 minutes straight in those meetings and call you a cunt, a bitch. You're all corrupt. You're a bunch of fucking assholes. You should go to hell. You're fucking throwing down Freemason signs. You're satanic. And you hate Christians. You hate people like me, right? That's what this is all about. You are the new world order. You want to implement all these things. You want to take our fireplaces away, right? You don't give a shit. You're stealing our money right off the bat. You don't hold office legit. You haven't signed an oath of office right off the bat. You didn't put your bond down. You're not insured. It's just one big cover up. When was the last time somebody got in trouble with the government here, right? That wasn't a whistleblower. What about the pedophilia? You just let these people go from the county next door, the Catholic priest in Calaveras County, right here in Tuolumne County with Philip A. Pimentel, and everybody that's covered that up. And if you've covered it up, then you're a pedophile too. That's you right there. You're pedophiles in that court. That includes you, Kevin Siebert, and everybody on the board that has been given notice, including Bill Pulley. It's very interesting that Bill Pulley is gone right after all this stuff was exposed. What about the undersheriff, Evans? And we have the new sheriff, and he hasn't even responded, right? I have the live recording about the corruption on December 7th, 2021. You can't deny it. Everything that they said about passing a resolution for self-funded criminal insurance, which means the taxpayers are paying for your criminal insurance, was totally fraudulent, and I proved it. And you're covering it up, Sheriff Vasquez. You're not a constitutional sheriff. You've been called out. And by law, we need to know who all the Freemasons are, because you guys are just coming after me, man, for exposing your satanic corruption and your rituals. I know all about it, man. Naming names. You're not stopping me.
So before we go into closed session, is there any public comment on the closed session items? If so, please come up. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm very happy to see you take up the threat item. I've been very uncomfortable coming to these meetings over the past few months. Several of you have talked to me and thought perhaps I should take on the issue from the podium, and there's no way I'd be crazy enough to do that. I did make an arrangement to sit down for lunch with one particular person, even though everyone in this room advised me not to. And I have to say, I got absolutely nowhere. I couldn't even get a word in edgewise, and I had to listen to the same crapola that we have to listen to in this room. So I wasn't able to affect any change or make a difference. I just wasted my time. But it's very concerning to me, and I think I'm aware there's a restraining order, and I think it needs to be extended to more people, especially the 5 of you. And I think the distance needs to be increased. And I hope you come to some at least tentative agreement and a plan during your session. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member of the public wish to speak on closed session items? Okay.
You serious?
What a shit show. You guys see that? They brought in Miss Dow early, and John Flynn was blocked. I'm going to do a whole episode on that and let him speak to it. I don't want to pollute this one with all that. that it's a setup. And now they're trying to use her to get a protective order against him, maybe even me. But she swore. I never swore. She dropped the A-bomb. And I've never dropped any foul language in that boardroom. Never. So you're caught. And, Ms. Dow is part of it. She's part of the conspiracy to violate my rights and Mr. Flynn's rights.
Additional public. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm John Flynn, your political watchdog, and good morning to County of Tuolumne. That's where I'm going to stop right there. And I want to talk about what happened on last Tuesday, February 27th. On the February 26th, the day before, I was dropping off my ballot. And on the way out, I read the bulletin board outside. It said there was a special meeting with the Board of Supervisors, and I'm assuming Sarah Crowler, Christopher Smith, Sheriff Bill Pooley, Under Sheriff Neil Evans, and Captain Vasquez. And they said someone said there was threats on, and this is what I was reading outside on Monday, February 26, 2024, that there were threats against county personnel, county buildings, and the courthouse. And I was trying to figure out, I was really concerned about that. And I was trying to figure out who. And then I thought of the U.S. Supreme Court ruling of December 23rd, 2023. And they had reinforcing New York Times versus another U.S. Supreme Court ruling, New York Times versus Sullivan, 1964. And I was thinking about Ty Robbins' postings on Tuolumne County scandals, and that did not apply to him. Whatever your meeting was didn't apply to him. So, and you also then Mr. Goldenberg, and this meeting was closed to the general public, and I said fine. So I started walking at 8 a.m. to come to the board meeting, and there would be an open meeting at 9 a.m. and then Pledge of Allegiance, public comment, and then at 10 a.m. Congratulating Bill Pooley, Sheriff Bill Pooley. We were leaving, and then you had Mr. Goldenberg. You said we'll have public comment. Well, there was no public comment, and then about 8-10 seconds later, Ms. Dow shows up. And she asked, and then there was a picture of her. Nobody's in the boardroom. There's always somebody here. Nobody. And it doesn't, she sits over there as a rule. And she took 8-10 seconds to come over. She requested that you put a restraining. She was colluding. 3 of you colluded with her. It's caught on video. I have it. It's on the website, Tuolumne County Scandals. And you also had, she asked for a restraining order against me because she's sick and tired of hearing what I have to say. If you're sick and tired of hearing what I have to say, Ms. Dow, go see a doctor or go on a vacation. Okay? That's all you have to do. You don't even have to come here. And thank you.
Any additional members that would like to speak? Good morning.
Good morning. I think it would be great if you took control of the meeting and did not allow someone to attack a private citizen from the pulpit here. Steve Machado is still doing his Age Well, Drive Smart classes. And you don't want any bad language, so I'm really disappointed I can't call our drivers assholes, but I'll respect that. His phone number to arrange these classes is 209-984-3944.
Good morning. Welcome to the February 27th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting special agenda. Due to the timing of the meeting, we're still shaking out getting that all squared up. Other than that, I will call for oral communications. This is a chance for the public to come up and speak. That's it. Okay, this is a chance for the public to come up and speak on any items that are not on the agenda. So is there anybody that wishes to speak under oral communications? Okay, seeing none. Excuse me.
Flynn, go ahead.
All right, we're going to talk about Miss Dow. She went to there was a private meeting. It was caught by, I guess, Jerry Days, or live video for Twalmy, but that's the one Ty's going to be using. But Miss Dow came up on, spoke at the board, a closed board meeting, totally closed.
And stop. The memo, this one right here, I believe,
Right.
is what was posted, actually posted on the bulletin board.
Well, no, the one that was
Was it this one?
no, it's the other one, but the one that was posted outside on February 26th doesn't even reflect what was on February 27th. It's told everything's missing.
Yes. Go over that real quick. Just what's
Okay,
missing.
so what on the February 27th meeting, the bulletin board outside for February 26th is what I was looking at, and that's what I was going on.
When it didn't have the thing
And,
about.
and what was filed on February 20, what I saw outside, did not reflect on the February 27 on the second page. It's just missing. Everything's missing.
About the threats.
And yeah, and someone said
See the back page? So there's nothing on here about threats.
no, there's nothing.
And a closed meeting.
It was closed meeting, so that
So
was
it's not there.
fraudulent the way it was.
So there was
set.
no notice. So you walked over there expecting the 9 o'clock meeting, like
That's
the
right. It
agenda.
said 9 a.m. and at 9 a.m. they would have Pledge of Allegiance, and they would have a public comment.
Right.
But I didn't
Right
see.
there.
But it's right here. But that's not what it said on the outside bulletin.
It says 8 a.m.
It said special meeting, right? But it said, but this is different. It's not what I saw.
Well, no, this is the one that you did see. This is the one that doesn't say.
Well, they changed everything out.
Oh, wait. No, this one does say threat.
All right.
Is this the one that you had? Or is this the one you had didn't have it?
All right, hang on. Let's stop. Individuals, county buildings, and the courthouse. That's not what it says there. And that's why I was going to go to the meeting.
Oh, yeah, they did change it, didn't they?
It has.
So it says closed session at 8. So you figured
and I was
that 9,
and
because
then-
these are closed. Okay, so all of these at 8 are closed.
correct.
And then,
Miss Dow comes in.
okay, go
and
ahead.
then
So
she
you,
speaks at a closed session for public comment. Well, if it's closed, there is no public comment in closed. General public is not allowed in there.
well, no, they actually are. Remember that they told you that they aren't, is why you're confused, because you were told. Remember that one meeting when they told you it's a closed session and you can't comment when you really could, and you put your suit and tie on and you were there.
Right. Oh, that was September 25th.
Okay, so it's so vague. Look at this. It's so vague, really, that how do you know what's going on? Because you've been told you can't comment, and then they do comment, and then once again, here's a situation where clearly it was staged. Nobody was even in that room.
No, nobody, everybody. You know, the county employees.
And they
come
passed
in,
a note. They passed a note.
and Ryan Campbell did pass a note over there, and
That's a violation of the open meeting law. That's a serial communication within a meeting. And they can't do that. They can't communicate with cell phones, computers, email,
right,
or
let me
literal.
finish. So Ryan Campbell did pass it, write a note, and Jared Brandon was in on it. So there's two of it. There's colluding, conspiracy against rights. This is all orchestrated prior, and because Jared Brandon, when he got the note, most people.
We'll show it. I'll show it.
When
Yeah.
it shows the note, when you pass a note, you get it as a suit. You looked at, is that for me? And you said no. It goes over.
Yeah,
there.
it's all caught on video. We'll show that. We'll show that.
He didn't even in it. He just got it and slid it over. So David Goldenberg was given the note, and then he said, "Let's have then public comment." Nothing, and you can count it by the seconds. Miss Dow always sits on the right, and when she finally did show up, she came from the right to the podium. It doesn't take 8-10 seconds.
Okay, so it's a setup, and then when the meeting did start, you spoke about that, And then Miss Dow came up
And said
and
I was doing character assassination.
she also she also swore.
She swore about another subject, but
what she said, asshole.
She said the A word.
The A word. Okay, asshole. I could swear in my videos. I could swear at that meeting too. By the way, she's allowed to say that, but the fact is, the board of supervisors is trying to ban me from speaking. Have I ever sworn at that meeting?
No, you have never sworn. So
even though I could.
So by looking at these notes, it was kind of confusing. But
have any made any threats at those meetings?
No, you have not.
What have I done at those meetings, John? All I've done is expose corruption, like you.
Yeah, exposing it. Except you're more in depth about how to do it.
I speak louder, right? Louder. My voice carries. They shut the meeting down because I said, "How dare you?"
You know how to do videos. I don't know how to do that.
Well, that's not the meeting, and that's my First Amendment. Whatever I say in my videos, as long as I don't say I'm going to kill somebody or harm somebody, I have First Amendment right to call people an asshole, use the F word, the C word.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is when we went to the February 26th meeting, that's what was said outside in the bulletin board outside. And I dropped off my voting. I vote my voting ballot, and then I came back and a friend of mine brought me home. I'm going on that. And it said the general meeting didn't start until 9 a.m.
Talk about Sarah Carrillo and Christopher Schmidt. Have they intimidated you and said they were going to get protective orders for serving paperwork on me? For me.
Well, actually, that happened twice.
Right. And you're not a party to the action. You're over 18. So legally you can do this. So and now
November 8th in the lobby.
Right. Now they're trying to say you're in a conspiracy with me.
November 8th, 2022.
Right.
In the lobby. And then that was Sarah Carrillo telling me I could not help you out and legally serve anybody.
That was after they were served by email, correct? They were served. And they demanded personal service. Christopher Schmidt.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So he demanded and set that up that you come over there, and I brought you over there, and then they sat you down and said they were going to get protective orders.
That was
and
let's get the date
called
straight.
Somebody fat.
Let me get the date, please. You're jumping around. The date was March 24th, Friday. And they said, we had a complaint about you and blah, blah, blah. But it's all protected free speech. And they said, I looked at someone, I said, you're fat. I said, what? And I said, no. Well, that's, no, that's private.
Did they provide a name?
No, they.
So it's all hearsay. It's all bogus.
It never happened. And they said, we heard it. And Christopher Smith, so I heard it too. And I said, you know what? That's all public information. And says, no, oh, yes, it is.
And it's on the court record.
It's because... It is public because this is not a private company. This is a public company with public tax. That's public information.
There's video cameras here too. Why don't we should get video surveillance of all of this, by the way, and do a public records demand. Actually sue them in court and get a subpoena. We're in court right now.
No, we're going to do it. They'll be subpoenaed and let the federal marshals do it.
Yeah, we're going in there.
And then there's no wiggle room. Court. And then as Tony Pellegrino said, they'll have a Manila gorilla colonoscopy, 7 hours of colonoscopy.
There you go.
Good morning, I'm John Flynn, your political watchdog. I have a couple questions for Captain Vasquez. Are you going to be a constitutional sheriff? Contact Sheriff Mack in Arizona immediately and learn how to be a constitutional sheriff. And to have your deputies all have a pocket constitutional handbook. Anyone, any kind, this is mine. And beat up, but I still use it. And inform, or are you going to be a corporate sheriff with a sheriff association that will not adhere to the Constitution and will not protect anybody in the county? Or will it just go about whatever you want to, nilly-willy want to do? And by appointing him, I agree with the gentleman, I think that was Catherine Sari's husband, that he should be only appointed to 1 year. See how he works out. And if it doesn't work out, have an election, a real election, like Dave Tenchel said. So we should have an election. That's only fair. And let the people decide, not the whim of the Board of Supervisors to bypass everything. And that's not, you're supposed to be representing your constituents. You owe it to your constituents to have an election, because I've been looking since June 1st for a deputy to run against Bill Pulley in 2026. That's what I was assuming the John Birch Society is looking for a constitutional deputy, and to move here if need be and run. I want a real election. I want to hear their values on the and the people. Or will Captain Vasquez follow in this footstep of Bill Pulley right behind me and look the other way to child trafficking at the courthouse and child protective custody? Then there was Philip A. Pimentel, who is not licensed. He has resigned, but he didn't have a license to practice family law, and he was paid under the table by this government, for 6 years. Why?
Excuse me, we're talking about the matter before us.
Okay, all right, I got off. But I want to know if we're going to have, and could Captain Vasquez, could you confirm or deny, are you a member of the Freemason Society in this county? Are you going to protect, or are you going to be a constitutional sheriff or a corporate sheriff? Corporate sheriffs don't work with the Constitution. They don't care. Only constitutional sheriffs. That's what I want to know. Thank you.
All right, you guys, you just witnessed Supervisor Goldenberg cut off John Flynn, and that's a violation of the open meeting law as well. Mr. Flynn can talk about really whatever he wants, and he was on point. And he also cut off other speakers, including Kathleen Sari, who is a candidate. So these people are just fully disrespectful, man. And again, we can get up there for 3 minutes, Mr. Goldenberg, and I can call you an asshole, and I can just drop bombs, just like Miss Dow did, right there to all of you. But I've never done that. So I've gone in there and brought legitimate complaints, pedophilia, and all your open meeting violations like you just did here, on and on and on, the whole issue with waste management that I explained. I want to make this video short, so let's get to Miss Half, explaining that she doesn't give a shit about what the Supreme Court of the United States says, or the California Supreme Court, or any court. That bitch thinks she's above the law, just like Sarah Carrillo and Christopher Schmidt. Fuck all of you. I could sit there for 3 minutes and say, fuck all of you. You're dirty cunts and you stink. Get the fuck out of here. You don't hold office legit. You've been busted on December 7th, 2021. The new sheriff, Vasquez, you're just like the old sheriff. You're going to cover it up, man. All that pedophilia, that's why the old sheriff left. I came along and I've blown the top off the corruption, and you guys think I'm a threat. Of course I'm a threat to your career. You're going to prison, right? I ain't a threat. If I was going to kill you people, I wouldn't be sitting here telling you I'm going to kill you. I've already won legally. Get out. You don't hold office. You're not going to prison. Fuck you. Looking at the people speaking, and I just wanted to point out Kathleen Half, how ignorant she is, and how stubborn and cavalier that she's just going to ignore the Supreme Court rulings, and she gets it all wrong and thinks it's a federal thing, it's a state thing, but still, she thinks she's above the law, and that's what we're dealing with.
If the board clerk could please reread that item.
Okay, item number 4, waiving the second reading and repealing Chapter 3.44 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code related to charges reasonably necessary to recover costs of providing copies under the Public Records Act beyond direct costs of duplication.
Okay, Supervisor Half.
Yeah, I wanted to, vote on this separately because the Supreme Court has determined for us that any of our search time that staff takes to find files, to redact them, to serve them to the people that are requesting them, we have to pay for that. It's like an unfunded mandate. I don't know if the Supreme Court understood the ramifications of what this means to a smaller county that doesn't have enough discretionary money for even basic services. But this is one of those unfunded mandates. This one particularly is from the federal government and from the Supreme Court. And I feel they got it wrong. And so I will not be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments, board members?
Just to clarify as a question to staff, while the language still exists in the ordinance code saying that we collect fees, it's been the policy of the county to not collect those fees since 2019.
Right.
Is that
correct? And to clarify, that's the California Supreme Court decision, not the federal Supreme Court.
I got that wrong, sorry. It's the California Supreme Court. That makes sense.
So, but there's not going to be any actual change to the costs incurred by the county, not since we changed the policy, right, in 2019.
Well, since 2019, we've only charged copy reproduction costs 10 cents per copy. We have not charged staff time. So just based on policy, there's no cost change. We're eliminating this chapter from the ordinance code. So it'll eliminate the ability to charge staff time and things like that. And so this will bring it in to be consistent with our policy.
Yeah, I share your frustration, but I think that this is kind of more something that's already happened, and so making the ordinance code align with what our policy actually is, I think is valuable to the public at least, so that they're not seeing that inconsistency. So, I guess that would be my point on it.
I understand that we are doing what's according to the law, and we have been in accordance with the law since 2019. I am opposing this on principle that the Supreme Court got it wrong. That's it.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to make the motion.
Yes.
Approve of item 4.
Public comment.
Oh, did we do public comment?
Sorry.
Okay, public.
Yeah, pretty stupid people. How dumb is that? Ignorant, above the law. That's what we have.